Welcome, friends, to another episode of Dan Tremblay Music. Today, the search for the ultimate blurred background using the iPhone continues. So in the past, I talked about Focos Live, and actually I've been using Focos Live for almost all of my videos. Performed very, very well. There is another app called Protake, which some people have been talking about, so I thought it would be interesting to do a quick comparison between the two apps. I'm not going to go into all the bells and whistles, but basically just a comparison between which of those two apps is going to get you the better bokeh or blurred background. Let's get to it. All right, so we're just going to do a real quick comparison between a few different shots between Protake and Focos Live. Going to keep it short. So all three of these clips, I have Protake on the left and Focos Live on the right. Okay, so we'll start with, this is a microphone shot. So we'll take a look, and as you can see, both apps are really struggling to figure out where the subject is and where the kind of blurred background is. Okay, so all kinds of crazy artifacts. It could be like this design of the microphone screen that's really throwing them off. So neither one of those apps is going to work very well for this particular situation. As you can see, both completely unusable shots. All right, and again, I purposely tried to move the camera around a little bit to really try to see how the apps could handle. Protake maybe did a little bit better job, but again, you see all these crazy artifacts around the coffee mug. Again, are these shots usable? No, there's no way you can use these shots. Completely unusable shots. I could have maybe set up a tripod. Maybe it would have worked a little bit better, but really not good. Okay, and the last comparison is comparing the headshots, and this is probably where most people are going to try to use these apps for. So let's take a peek at the two. So we got we have Protake on the left, Focos Live on the right. The distance, maybe when I set up the tripod, was a little bit different. So overall, I'd say both did a pretty good job on the stationary headshots. The roll off, so around the hairline, for Protake maybe did a little bit better. As you can see, the Focos Live starts to have a little bit of a hard time figuring out, detecting the subject from the background. However, Focos Live has a slider where you can control the amount of bokeh. You can push it all the way up, all the way down. So this is pushed all the way up because I really like that nice in the background. I like to have a nice creamy bokeh. Really, that's what we're looking for. We want it to be creamy. Okay, this to me, not super creamy. We got a little bit of blurred background, but really not great. So again, Focos Live, if you were worried about that, the roll off around the hairline, there's a few different things you could do. One is you could move a little bit further away from your background, push everything back, make sure there's a little bit more separation between your background and your subject. And two, you could look at that slider on Focos Live and just not push it all the way to the max. Maybe back it off a little bit, and you might get a little bit less of the roll off around the hairline. But between the two, to me, there's a clear winner. Protake did a decent job, but it's not a huge, if you're just comparing the bokeh, to me, Focos Live, side-by-side shot there, hands down, Focos Live does a better job in my personal opinion. So final thoughts. These are only two of the apps that are available for blurred background. There are many. These are only two that I have used. I've been using Focos Live for a long time. It's worked very well. Haven't had any performance issues, no crashes. And I think for what it is, it does a great job. In terms of performance, I did experience issues with Protake, and I had multiple crashes with the app. So definitely some performance issues that need to be resolved. In terms of trying to get a blurred background on objects, when the camera is moving, I think both apps struggle. Now, this could be a limitation of the software, it could be a limitation of the hardware. I'm using an iPhone 11 Pro, which does not have the LiDAR. So you might have better results if you have an iPhone 12 with a LiDAR. In fact, you probably will. But that being said, with my phone and my setup, between the two, I would stick with a tripod stationary setup when using these apps, and they will work well. In terms of roll-off, and in terms of, those kind of strange artifacts you get around, the hairline and around objects and stuff like that, again, I think we're just limited to what's currently available on the market. I think it's probably a combination of hardware and software. I think, once the new version of iPhone comes out, I'm sure it'll have improved LiDAR, and I'll be amazed if it doesn't have portrait video natively on the camera itself. And then I'm going to see a big change, I think, in terms of what we have available. So between the two, if you had to choose one of these two apps and you want that blurred background, I would still go with Focos Live. I've been very happy with it. I think they both do a pretty decent job of the blurred background. It's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be DSLR quality using the optics of a lens. But for an iPhone, I think it's pretty darn good. But I would still stick with Focos Live, mostly because of the performance issues that I experienced with Protake. That's it, my friends. Stay safe. Catch you in the next one.